Alright, how's it going, guys? Today we have basically an Age of Aurelus pre-release recap. Both myself and my girlfriend went to the event and we did really well. She got third place overall and then I got fourth place. So as you can see, between the last video and now, I've got something a little more interesting to look at in the background. Not only did we win this one mat here, we also won another mat. This one's still rolled up. So we won those two mats, and we also won a crap ton of cards, which I'll go through after I go through the deck profiles. But I'm going to start actually with her deck profile, which was the third place one. It had Darkest Nilius Ultra, Aquas Pyravian Ultra, and Aurelus Trino. There's the figures right there for you guys. So she pulled excellent stuff out of her packs for a shield-based deck. And so that's what she just went with. She used 3 plus 300B shields, 1 plus 400 for Aquas or Darkest shield, and then 2 plus 650B blue shields. And it seemed to work out pretty well for her. She went 5-0 through Swiss, and then top cut she ended up losing in the semifinals. But for the cards she used 2 Dark Waters, and throughout this, if I don't talk that much about them, it's just because these were the cards that we had access to, and basically they were just the best from what we pulled or from what was already in the pre-made deck. So that's true of Dark Waters, but rerolls are always good. Also the 2 Unstoppable, that was basically like one of the better B-Power boosters between the deck and the packs. Same with Mud Pits. These were sort of extra cards, like 39th and 40th cards that we just threw in because of the potential extra B-Power, but she told me that she usually energized this. 2 Riptides, because rerolls are always good. She said she was only able to fulfill this one time throughout the whole tournament, though. 2 Phoenix Fires. So I actually play these in my deck, too. I'll get to that later, but these were really, really unexpectedly good against team attacks because you could get the +3 Frost Strike or the Double Strike. So either way you choose, your team attack just becomes devastating. Then the 1 Darkest Slicer, because that's all that we had. 2 Darkest Petrify. She told me that she didn't end up using minus damage cards that often, except for like in the top cut. She mainly just used the plus B power cards, but these were just in here because they were pretty much the only damage sort of stoppers that we had access to. 2 Dark Paths, 2 Mind Slips. These were really good for hand control and obviously because of the extra rerolls. She tried to put in as many rerolls as she could because her ultras, the Nilius and the Pyravian, were pretty easy to roll. Just because they're ultras and they've got that tire tread sort of deal. But the Trino, as it's a core, it could be a little difficult sometimes to get it to land. 2 White Mines. These are good in theory, but she said not a single time did she use them for the whole tournament. 1 Dust to Dust. This was kind of bad for the whole tournament as well. 2 Might of Darkness. This is another AA card that she pulled from the packs. She said it was pretty good. 1 Dark Fortune. This is only 1 copy of it, came in the starter deck. She said she resolved this quite a few times actually for the 2 Evos that she did end up pulling, which directly relate to these Bakugan choices, but we'll get to that in a minute. And next, her favorite card of the whole tournament, she said she used this as often as she possibly could, and it won her quite a few battles. 2 Darkest Howls. It's basically Stone Skin, except costs 1 more energy and gets you plus 200 more B than the Stone Skin. And she said that was incredible. Also Darkest Blast, especially late game. Instant win card. Next, both of our decks played a lot of flips, but she had some access to arguably better ones. 2 Darkest Snares, because she was running some magic shields in her deck. So if her opponent happened to land on these or brought any blue shields of their own, that was an easy 0-cost flip. 1 Shadow Drain. She actually ended up resolving this one time and had to choose herself to discard 2 cards because her opponent had no cards in his hand. And so she had to target something after stopping the attack, so she had to target her own hand, which was kind of rough, but what can you do? These are 2 more new flips. Futility and Mysterious Mist. They stopped 3 factions. They're 2 cost, pretty good. And a much worse 2 cost, which was only in there because we wanted to load up on flips. Lost at Sea, flip a coin if head stop the attack. These are getting replaced and probably burned in a fire immediately after these profiles because you never want to rely on luck to stop an attack. Next, 2 Fierce Charge. This is the new Aurelus stop card. It's really good, obviously, because it stops 5 different factions aside from Aurelus. But it was basically the best flip card. If you pulled it in the packs that you got, it was the best one that you had access to. And she got 2, so she played both of them. Next for heroes, 1 lightning. Oh, a little sneak peek there of the other heroes. 1 lightning. She said she didn't use it too often because she had better 2-cost B-power boosters, but it was there. 1 Shun. It's always good, you know, the free pluses whenever you open the Bakugan. And this guy is a breakout card of the deck. Magnus Ultimate Rival. She pulled this and another Bakugan Elite that I may have spoiled by fanning out the cards a second ago. It searches literally anything in your deck. When you play this, search your deck for a card. No specifications, just play it and search it for any card, which was really useful to her. In addition with the Dark Fortune for when she wanted to search Evos, which she pulled 2. She pulled a Diamond Trino, 1 cost, 400, 6 damage, plus 800 on a shield. So more often than not, she would land this guy on a shield and get 1500 B turn 1, which is insane. Insanely high for turn 1. That even beats out like Aurelus Hydronoid Ultra, which is pretty much the highest B power you can get to without playing cards. As far as Bakugan go right now that are out. And the last card of the deck, she pulled the Magnus and the Maximus Nilius Ultra from her packs. This card, she said she only got to use it once or twice, but when she did use it, it was devastating. Because especially if you search him off of the Magnus, you're going to have 2000 B because she ran so many shields, she was bound to land on a shield. And then 30 damage. Because she'd have the Magnus in play and the Nilius in play, so she'd get that extra plus 20. And that was her deck. She had a really fun time. As I said earlier, she went 5-0 through Swiss, and then in Top Cut, she lost in the semifinals. Got 3rd place, though. Excuse me. Yeah, she had a really fun time. Won quite a few stuff that I'll get to at the end after the second profile. I'll just set these off in the background. So here was mine. The majority of the packs that I opened really had a lot of strong Chaos and Pyrus cards. So I ended up playing a Fire Fist deck, Nobilius Ultra, Hydronoid Ultra, and Tertonium. There's their figures, just in case you wanted to see. So these 2 were fantastic the whole tournament. Really, really good. Especially with the fact that you were almost always going to land on that Fire Fist. This guy usually opened at 950, this guy always at 1450. But this guy, on the other hand, he was good when you opened him because you'd play him on a Red Fist, he'd open at 1050. But the problem is he just doesn't like to open, or he didn't at least during the tournament. So he lost me my semifinal game, actually. Caused me to get 4th place, but that's all right. We both had a great time. I just played 5 Red Fists at 250 and plus 3, just because they're the best ones. And then a 650 Blue Shield for cores. And it worked pretty well the whole time. I'd usually set up sort of like as close to a circle as I could when we were making the core, or the, I don't even know what they call it, the Hexdrome or whatever from the show. But yeah, those 2 are pretty easy to roll on the circle-y thingy you'd usually make, and the turtle was not. But to get to the deck, 2 Holy Flames, Its plus 600B effect didn't really come to play at all because I was running no green fists, but it was still good for that plus 300 one cost. One blinding light. I actually pulled a good amount of heroes, and the starter deck I picked started with a bunch of heroes too, so I'd usually get at least 400 for 2 cost when I played this card. So that was good. 400 for a 2 cost is pretty on par, so that ended up being pretty good for me. I saw this card, Chaos Blessing, all day long, used it all the time for rerolls. Rerolls were really good during this event. 2 energy draws, that's what came in the deck. It was really good. 2 cost plus 500, pretty simple. Shadow Skeleton, 1 of it. I pulled it in a pack and thought it might be good because I had a lot of heroes in play, but I never resolved this a single time the whole tournament. Same with Divine Intervention. The reason being was because it was the highest cost for any reroll card I used in my deck, and also its Evo card effect usually didn't come into play because I didn't have that many Evos at all. All these guys that I had, their Evos only came in the packs and I could only pull so many, so I didn't really see them that often. I usually energize this. This actually, Sonic Chain, was a really good pull and came in clutch a couple times. 5 cost, Aurelus power. If you have an Aurelus Bakugan on your team, draw a card, and destroy an Evo. So I'd literally just play this on any kind of problem Evo, and then I'd replace it with a new card in my hand. It was really, really good. Avalanche, this card was kind of bad because of this little condition here. If you've played 3 cards from different factions this turn, plus 800B instead. I never saw that happen during any game, so I'd only play this for 200B 2 cost, which is pretty bad, or I would just energize it for in favor of something else better that was 2 cost. 2 Phoenix Fires. We both pulled 2 Phoenix Fires from our packs. This was really good for team attacks, as I said, with her deck profile. 2 Quick Fires. Best reroll card, it's 0 cost. I actually won a game by making a Pirate's Attack for 1 with this card, and the guy had no deck, and it made me feel really bad, but it was a game win. 2 Angers. I really underestimated this card going into the event because it's a 2 cost for plus 300, which is like under par. You usually want to see at least 400. But the Fury effect actually I resolved quite a few times just because there were a couple people running decks that would be really good at discarding. So I actually got to resolve this quite a few times and draw into some good things. 2 Pyrus Heat Shields. These were just extra cards, 39th and 40th cards. I played them just for the B power, only resolved them a couple times. 1 Dual Strike. Double Strike was really good at the event because you could just burn through your opponent's flip cards, and then I try to play as many rerolls as possible, and this is only 1 copy of it came in the starter deck. So for flip cards, 2 Trick Traps. These were really, really good. I saw them all the time. The starter deck I picked came with 2 Chaos Stratas that were 3 cost, and so anytime I flipped this over and I had the Strata in my hand, I would just instantly lay it down for free, and it was really good. 2 Confuse. The only cores I had were Red Fists and Blue Shields, so this was also really good at 1 cost. I used it quite often. It came in clutch quite a few times, and just like Kaylee's deck, let me see if it skipped forward a few cards. We each pulled one of these new 2 cost stop 3 different faction cards. This came in handy a couple times. They're not quite as good as the stop non-whatever faction, but they were still good just for the event. And then 3 Fierce Charges in mine. I pulled 3 out of my packs, and it was the best flip card, as I said earlier. And so we played that at 3. Every copy was used. Next for heroes, I pulled a lot of them, so 2 Stratas, really good with the Trick Trap, as I said. 1 D. I saw her effect at least twice during the tournament. I'd get 2 Frost Strike to all my Bakugan, and it would just shut out my opponent's flip cards every time I played it. Every time it was a game win. One of the new Magnus, the first Aurelus hero card. When you play a card with Battle Mastery, you may choose both. And so what I would do with this card It was really useful. Let me see if I can find it. When I played this, and then I played a Phoenix Fire, because my team attacks would get boosted by either the Frost Strike or the Double Strike without Magnus on the field. But when I had him on the field and I played this, it was basically game, because they couldn't pay for any flip cards, and my damage ended up being almost 30 sometimes. Next, I think the rest of the heroes were all just starter deck cards. We played 2 Emily. This actually lost me a game. I paid 6 energy to play this down before I rolled, and then I rolled and opened and dealt 2 damage. But I thought that it was going to mill my opponent out. I thought they only had 1 card in deck, but they actually had 2 cards left in deck. And then they ended up winning that battle and later winning the game. So anytime after that game that I saw this card, I just energized it, because I didn't want that to happen again. 1 copy of Jenkins. This was actually really good because, as I said earlier, there were people running discard decks. So I actually saw the Fury effect of him come out quite a few times. 1 Dan Kuzo. Double Strike was really good for the event, so he was an obvious choice. And lastly, the Evos I pulled. The reason that I even chose these Bakugan in the first place was because I pulled 1 Hyper Tritonium, and then 2 Titan Nobilius Ultra. Sorry, I slurred my words there. 2 Titan Nobilius Ultra. This guy is minimum 1750 on a red fist, and then maximum 2250 on a blue shield using the cores that I chose, and he was just amazing. Never lost a battle with him. And yep, so that's the profiles. My deck got 4th, she got 3rd. I'm not sure where you can find the 1st and 2nd profiles, but those were really good as well. I would recommend trying to track those down somewhere. We were at the TPK Gaming pre-release event, so anything like Chicago area related, that's what I would search up for finding those profiles. The people we lost to were really good, so just gonna throw that out there. The cards that we won were the, let's see, we won 12 packs between the 2 of us, and we opened them later. I had footage of us opening them, but it got like corrupted or something. So here's sort of a recap of all the commons and rares. If you want to see these more in depth, or you want me to like not just scroll through them really fast, I would recommend just throwing something down in the comments or going to TCG Player. They have pictures of all the cards from Age of Aurelus up on their website. And then I'll go a little slower when I pull out the stack of holo cards. Yep, so there's that. We were really excited to go as far as we did and to get as many prizes as we did. It was really fun time for us, and we're looking forward for more events from Spin Master in the future. Here's the holos that we got. Inferno Cannon, 2 Clone Armies, Growing Giant. I won't say all of them, I'll just give each one a second in the limelight. Another Sonic Chain. Man, I wish I had pulled this before the end of the tournament, because I would have played that at 2. Oh yeah, 2 Optic Beams. Not sure how I feel about this card. It could ruin someone's day, but that 5 cost is not super appealing to me. I guess I could take this time to say that, yeah, the price of entry kind of jerked us around a little bit. What with the $40 price being way higher than most pre-release events would be, but in the end, it was such a fun event. I can honestly say that the $40 really didn't seem to be that much. I mean, you get a $30 MSRP starter deck to go with it. So it's really just about how much you care about the game. And we, up to this point, have really enjoyed the game, so we didn't mind it that much. And honestly, if it was that price in the future, I don't think we would be quite that shocked at all. We almost, let's see, my girlfriend, pulled this card, and we almost picked the starter deck that didn't have the blue Pyravian in it. Just because, like, the purple Hydronoid guy comes as one of the Bakugan in that, but then she later on pulled the Evo for the Nilius, so we just ended up changing our decision in the very end. Oh, two of that, 2 Cloptors. Two of this Chaos Titan Pandox. After looking at this Evo, I'm super excited to see when he comes out, because we'll be picking him up immediately. Hyper Trino is really interesting because its Victor ability is really similar to Dan's. And Air Zeros. And here's where it gets really exciting. So we actually, out of our 24 packs from the entire event, pulled 8 Bakugan Elites, which averages out to 1 every 3 packs, which I think is insane luck. We got the 1 Magnus Bakugan Elite, the 1 Nilius Bakugan Elite, and then 6 more heroes. 1 Shun, 3 Leas, which I'm really excited for. Stay tuned for an AA style hero deck profile, just because of her. That'll be coming down the line, and then 2 Wintons. And yeah, so that's everything we had at the event. We also met some nice people. Really looking forward to going back to that venue and hearing more from Spoon Master about future events. But that, I guess, is all for now. Hope you enjoyed. Go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you did. And stay tuned for more deck profiles. We got a whole lot of new cards to play around with for more deck profiles in the future. So see ya.